Welcome to this week's episode of Prep Sports Weekly. In today's show, we are going to dive into the local high school football scene.
As well as highlighting the high school football scene, we'll tune into the high school soccer scene as the district championship was this past week.
Hello everybody, and thanks for tuning in to Prep Sports Weekly. I'm Isabella Christensen alongside my co-host Patton Cook. We'll jump right in and take a look at some coverage from Alex Allard and Sienna Macri on Kenwood at Clarksville High School, who went head-to-head this past Thursday night.
On Thursday night, the Clarksville Wildcats were able to keep their playoff hopes alive after defeating the Kenwood Knights 55-38. On paper, the Wildcats came away with a 3-score victory, but in reality, the game was a back-and-forth battle between two high-powered offenses. For Clarksville, the team's offense was centered around a triple option style, where their quarterback, Davin Geringer, made multiple reads every play and thus would dictate who carried the ball based on the shown defense. Kenwood was unable to stop the option, as Geringer, along with his dynamic trio of running backs in Rayshawn Bowling, Chris Allen, and Jamar Carnell, would score 7 of the Wildcats' 8 touchdowns on the evening. For Kenwood, the team was led by junior quarterback Jalen Washington. Washington had an excellent first half after tossing 3 touchdowns, with the last coming off a 33-yard strike to Quintavious Barnes as time expired in the first half to give his team a 30-29 lead. Along with Washington's 3 scores, senior running back Tyshawn Miles also had a good game, after accounting for 2 rushing scores on the evening. The game was offensively driven throughout, with both teams dealing blow after blow to the opponent's defense. After 7 lead changes in the first 3 quarters of play, the Wildcats created some separation late. Rayshawn Bowling picked off Washington's pass intended for Tyshawn Miles. Later in the drive, now on offense, Bowling would cross pay dirt and give his team a 10-point advantage. Geringer would score on a quarterback keeper late to ice the game for the Wildcats. Clarksville improves to 1-3 in region play and stands just behind Northeast, Henry County, Dyer County, and Kenwood for the final playoff spot. After a week off for fall break, they will host Northwest before wrapping up their season at West Creek. For Kenwood, they fall to 2-3 in region play and will be on the road the next 2 weeks against Rossview and Jackson Northside before returning home for their season finale against Dyer County, which is a game that could hold heavy playoff implications. From Clarksville High School, this has been Alex Allard with Prep Sports Weekly.
Well, there's nothing like some Thursday night football between those teams. Let's look at another game that took place on Thursday, which was Lipscomb Academy going head-to-head against Rossview. This coverage came courtesy of Michael Spencer and Brian Williams.
Well, we're going to try to slow them down a little bit tonight. You know, we come up with a good plan defensively, and obviously we're going to have to execute our plan, eliminate the big plays from those guys tonight, and see how we can line up with that. And they got a good running game, they great screen game, they throw it around all over the place, they mix it up real well. So we've got a plan, so we'll see if we can stick to that and slow them down.
Yeah, the guys just really work hard all week. You know, we go full pads practice every day. I mean, they don't really let up. We go team every day. They just go hard. You know, we got a couple of guys that have potential to play at the next level that are seniors right now. Some of our guys don't, and they just go hard. So really, it's just all about the work they put in during the week. Not so much, you know, just sitting in the classroom watching film. We do that. But most importantly, they hit. And, you know, if you can hit and go hard every play, that's all it really takes. You know, we just try to go 1-0 every week. You know, we started the season 0-2. That wasn't fun. You know, I think we've won like 5 in a row or something now. But, you know, it's really just about going 1-0 every week, really getting things back to the middle, resetting everything, and just looking at every week as a new opportunity and a new team, and treat every team the same. Whether you're playing Brentwood Academy or you're playing some 1A public school, you got to treat them all the same.
everybody on the line has each other's back, and I know that everybody on the line is going to work hard for each other. So I feel like that if we all just work hard and everybody just feel good with each other, and we'll be able to accomplish and beat and outwork any defensive line or any team that we would go against if we just stay together and work hard. Well, so I played defense earlier in my high school years, and I like defense. So I feel like that me going on defense sometimes in like 4th and 1, 4th and inches, something like that, will help me like clog up the middle, stop the run inside.
What a highlight-filled game. Lipscomb Academy did defeat Rossview 48-21. We'll take a look at last week's game of the week, Northeast at Northwest, courtesy of Justin Marshall and Fabian Tyler.
The Northeast Eagles win big over the Northwest Vikings. However, in the Eagles' 47 victory over the Vikings, there were plenty of penalties. But the Eagles will go on and score 2 touchdowns right before the half, with a 2-yard run right here by Jawan Harris, and then later on with the 25-yard pass from Jaden Pugh to Jalen Busey for the easy touchdown catch in the end zone. The special teams were also able to cap off the half with a couple of touchdowns from Walter Goose, who returned a punt and a kickoff. A short point right here, and Goose was able to pick it up and take it all the way to the end zone. The Eagles defense also made some big plays in the game, including right here with an interception early in the first half. Now here's the head coach of the Eagles on how his defense played today.
We had to make some adjustments just because the way that they are running a kind of an old school offense called the power T, and you don't see it a lot. And we tried to get away with just running our regular base defense from the get-go in the first half, and they got some yards. And we had to make we had to tighten down things, try to clog up some gaps, and that seemed to have paid off.
It wasn't a good outing for the Vikings as they suffered many injuries throughout the game, especially on the offensive end. And here's the head coach of the Vikings at the end of the game.
Well, luckily it's fall break. You know, we have a week off, and this is, I don't know, it's probably our 10th injury so far. It's just, you're getting a lot of young guys, a lot of experience. It's not on the winning side of things, but it's still against good competition. You know, Northeast is a good football team. We got Clarksville and Henry County coming up, so these kids are going to get challenged by the best in our region. So it's, you know, you're going to get a lot of sophomores and a couple of freshmen that are getting a lot of valuable experience. And you know, we hope to get these kids back, which we should get back a few after fall break. You know, we had some COVID-related issues, and of course, injuries don't help, and you know, so it's hopefully these kids, we get some healed up and back and ready to go for Clarksville.
With this win, the Northeast Eagles has officially earned the right to challenge Henry County on October 23rd for the Region 7-5A Championship. Here's Eagles coach on how his team can keep the momentum going.
I'm gonna give them some days off and get relaxed, and you know, I think a few days off is good for your mind and soul and your body, and we're competing for a region championship, and so that's, anytime you can do that is good. But it's, you know, we're going to have to play a heck of a game against Henry County. We're going to have to establish every phase of the game and play a lot more discipline than we did tonight if we got to, you know, give ourselves a chance to win it.
As for the Vikings, they are now on a 5-game losing streak. They'll look to snap that with the win on Friday, October 23rd at Clarksville High. That's all from Northwest High School. For Prep Sports Weekly, I'm Justin Marshall.
Coming up after the break, we will focus on more games that took place last week, as well as looking at the district championship that took place between Clarksville High and Northeast High School in girls soccer. You are watching Prep Sports Weekly on APSU-TV.
We build on success and the success of others. But we are more than sports. We are institutions that play a special role. We are a community that cares, supporting one another beyond the field of competition. Now and always, we are all together. We are all the Ohio Valley Conference.
Welcome back to Prep Sports Weekly. Now we'll hear from Miracle Miller and Alex Allard on the matchup between Tipton Rosemark and Clarksville Academy.
On Friday, the Tipton Rosemark Academy Rebels travel to Simpson Field to take on the Clarksville Academy Cougars. Going into the contest, the teams were tied for the final playoff spot in the Division 2A West playoff race, but it was the Rebels who came up on top with a 43-32 victory. Tipton Rosemark took control of the game early with a quick rushing touchdown on their first possession of the game and never looked back from that point on. The Rebels did not trail the entire game and led by as much as 26. They were able to control the pace of the game with their run-heavy rushing attack, which was led by quarterback Payne Fullen, who accounted for 4 total touchdowns on the night, 3 of which came on the ground. While the Rebels controlled the game for the better part of the evening, the win was never far out of reach for Clarksville Academy. After trailing 33-7 late in the third quarter, the Wildcats began a comeback attempt led by senior running back Tristan Ladson. Ladson helped wield his team back within 10 points midway through the fourth and accounted for his team's final 3 scores, including a 64-yard rush late in the game. But the comeback bid would come up just short, as the Wildcats would suffer their 5th region loss of the year. Head coach of the Rebels, Shannon O'Brien, said he was very impressed with his team's performance, even amidst a week where they were not able to practice regularly.
Well, I'm very proud of our football team. I know you don't know it, but we didn't practice this week until Thursday. We had some issues with some COVID cases amongst family members of our team, and we had to quarantine a lot of our team because we were on fall break and this stuff happened. We didn't get a chance to practice. I'm just very proud of our football team. Our kids played together. We came hard. We had some key players missing tonight, but our guys rallied together and we did what we had to do to win the football game. I think fatigue set in at the end on us when we started missing tackles and giving up the points because we hadn't practiced but one day.
Right. Coach Crosby for Clarksville Academy was impressed with his team's effort throughout, but with the team not having much depth due to injuries, there was not much they could do.
And we were at a point where we had no backups ready to go that could go in some spots. So that's an issue for us. But our kids fought hard in the second half. You know, adrenaline kind of took over, and they didn't worry about being tired anymore. The second quarter crushed us. I don't know how. I'll have to go back and look at the game, but they killed us in the second quarter. That's really to me the difference in the game was what they did in the second quarter.
The loss drops the Cougars to just 1-5 in region play, and the team currently sits 1 game behind the Rebels for the final playoff spot. Clarksville Academy will travel to face the Monterey Wildcats next week, and Tipton Rosemark will play host to a winless Columbia Academy team. From Clarksville Academy, this has been Alex Allard with Prep Sports Weekly.
Now that we had a look at some of these games across the Clarksville area, let's run through some scores between the matchups that took place last week.
First up, Lipscomb Academy traveled to Rossview on Thursday, and well, they took this one back home with them as Rossview couldn't quite keep it.
Yep, a really high-profile game. Rossview, a big couple of weeks for them, beating Mount Juliet 2 weeks ago, and then Lipscomb Academy, they've got a high-profile head coach in Trent Dilfer. They're on a roll right now, a tough one for Rossview, but they've got next week to kind of get back on track.
Then you've got Clarksville High School, who defeated Kenwood at 55-38 this past Thursday as well. Yeah,
this game was huge for Kenwood and Clarksville High. Specifically for Clarksville, they really had to win this game to kind of get themselves back into playoff position. They did just that, getting a lot of points on the scoreboard, 55-38. Kenwood, that kind of drags them back into a dogfight for a playoff position. It'll be an interesting 2 weeks coming up for them.
Clarksville Academy took on Tipton Rosemark, but they couldn't quite add another win to their record as they were defeated 43-23.
Yep, Tipton Rosemark, really a great team in their region. This is a region game that for Clarksville Academy, they've got to start racking up some of these region wins to kind of even get themselves a chance to make it into the playoffs. They're 1-4 right now in the region. A tough one for them, but just the rest of these games for them is going to be all about just finding positives on a tough season.
Now you've got Montgomery Central, who went up against Springfield, and 28-7 on this one. Couldn't quite do it.
Yeah, Springfield, unfortunately enough for Montgomery Central, is I think the best team in their region right now. We'll look at the region standings in the next segment. They are 3-0 right now in the region, and for Montgomery Central, they're missing a lot of guys from graduation last season, and then they've got some guys missing out because of sickness. So just a tough situation for Montgomery Central right now, but they've got to get it rolling here in the next couple weeks to get themselves into November football.
Now, no surprise here, the game of the week last week, Northeast and Northwest, 42-7.
Yep, Northeast is kind of keeping pace with Henry County right now. Both of those teams are at the top of the division, and both of these teams are trying to put up scores that the other one can't beat, and Northeast did just that. They got the game pretty much done and over with early. For Northwest, this just continues a tough season for them, kind of a rebuilding year for them. Another team that lost a lot in graduation last year, and they're just trying to find positives where they can, because this game last week, there's not a whole lot of positives losing by that margin.
And lastly, the big guys of Henry County went in and just dominated West Creek. You've got it 56-13.
Yep, more of the same for Henry County this season. They haven't had a game really where it's a one-possession game going into the fourth quarter. They get their games done and over with usually by halftime, and they got the running clock the rest of the way. Like I said, they're just matching what Northeast is doing right now, and they've got a fun matchup coming up later in the month. So a really great matchup between those two teams coming up.
For sure. Let's switch directions here and look into what Blaine Keller and James Williams have for us on the Girls Soccer District Championship.
The Clarksville High School Lady Wildcats earned their 9th consecutive District 13 AAA championship on Friday with a 5-1 win against Northeast High School. Despite missing 2 starters from the evening's match, the Wildcats took care of business early and often. Ellie Wiggins opened the scoring for either team in the 27th minute, which was later followed by a Chloe Look goal that snuck past Northeast goalie Amber Kimberling right before halftime. The Lady Eagles would respond quickly in the second half to cut the lead from 2-0 to 2-1, but Clarksville proved to be too much for them to handle. CHS would score the final 3 goals of the game, sealing their perfect undefeated district season. Wiggins shined throughout the game, scoring her 6th and 7th goals on the season. The senior broke down the scoring action and gave her thoughts on her team's continued success.
I was really proud of the girls tonight, and we worked on something in practice and every day at practice, and that's the back post run. And we make sure to be there for our teammates no matter what. So my 2 goals tonight were one of my teammates going to the end line and sodding it back, and then I made that back post run and was able to finish it, thankfully. And they both did a really good job of getting to the end line and doing that and executing that, which is what we practice a lot. And then the last 4 years have just been a really good experience with this. It's a great group of girls, and my 4 years were 4-time district champs now, but it's 9-time district champs total for the last 9 years. And it's just a really good experience, and I've learned a lot through it to work for something more than myself and to just be there for my teammates.
Northeast fell to 5-3-1 with the defeat, but is still holding their head high as they head into the Class AAA Region Tournament under first-year head coach Kelly Kosar.
Really well. Honestly, this is the first time that we've actually pressured Clarksville so good. We actually scored on them. So we've never played such a close game against Clarksville before. The team has never been as successful as they have been. So we've worked a lot on pressuring and mobility, trying to keep our girls open and stuff like that. So I think overall, I wish I would have had a different outcome, but I like the way our girls played, and I think if anything, it gives us confidence moving on to the region.
Both teams will participate in the Class AAA Region Tournament beginning on October 20th. Clarksville will look to return to the state tournament as they host Arlington High School, while Northeast will make the 3.5-hour drive to Munford to play the Lady Cougars. From Clarksville High School, this has been Blaine Keller with Prep Sports Weekly.
After our final break, we'll review all of the region standings from across the area, as well as recognize what is to come in matchups this week. You're watching Prep Sports Weekly on APSU-TV.
maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? But now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Touchdown! Oh, did you see that? Whoa, we scored? Yeah, we scored. We're going to the playoffs. I can't believe I missed that. Every time I'm buzzed, I spend too much time on my phone. What? I should take your phone away. No. I'll call for a ride. Wait, why does my face look like that? I'm playing with these new face filters. Okay, you know what? Yep, that's mine. I'm gonna need that back. No. Kevin!
I was physically at school, but my mind wasn't at school. I had problems at home. So when I met Narnese, she started helping me a little bit, like, Nia, I don't know what you're doing, but your future is more important. She's my strength. It takes a village to help somebody get their diploma. It changes your whole life.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Welcome back to Prep Sports Weekly. Well, let's go ahead and look at some of the region standings across the area, and let's start with Region 5A 7.
Yep, you've got Northeast, which no surprise there that they're on top. They have been the strong, just top dogs this season. Yep,
big time for them, Northeast. They're usually kind of the winners in this region, along with Henry County right now in second place. Both of those teams have got a really exciting matchup coming up the final week of the season on October 30th. That's something that I'm sure everyone in the area will want to look out for, because those teams are really going to battle out to win who ends up winning the region. And Dyer County right now 2-1, third place, and Kenwood 2-3 in the region as well. But the matchup I'm looking forward to is Clarksville High right now. They've got two region games that are really winnable for them. They've got Northwest, and then, they've got Kenwood and Dyer County coming up for them. So two teams that are very much beatable for Clarksville High. They've got a path to make it into the playoffs, and then once you make it in, anything else can happen after that, really.
Now, Northwest and West Creek, just two teams that didn't really have a chance to get it together like they should have this season. Right.
Northwest has still kind of got a path, but they've got some teams that you wouldn't say they're favored in coming up these next couple of weeks. And West Creek, they're yet to find a win in the region. And to be fair to them, they've tried their hardest, but they've just gone against teams that, if you look at the talent and the size on the field, it was just always going to be an underdog role for them. They've got a couple games remaining to get a win on, and even though they don't have a real shot to make it into the playoffs, but a win this season really sets you up next season to possibly make some noise in the region.
We'll take a look at Region 4, 6A. So you've got Hendersonville High School. They've had some ups and downs this season, but they're ultimately staying up there. Right.
Winning region games gets you into playoffs games. The non-region games really don't matter if you take care of your region games. And for Rossview as well, they're right there at 2-1. So that they've got a path to make it into the first place of the region and get a couple home playoff games guaranteed for them. Another surprise was 2 weeks ago whenever Rossview beat Mount Juliet. Historically, Mount Juliet really runs this region, and quite easily. They're 5-1. Their one loss came to Rossview. So give credit to Rossview. They got a win that maybe they weren't favored in, but they've set themselves up pretty well to finish the region off pretty good. And for Wilson Central and Lebanon, right now they're tied at 1-2 in the region, and they've got a close one, a game coming up in the next few weeks to decide a playoff spot. It'll be a huge game for both of those teams.
Station Camp there at the bottom, a very tough one for them this year, but we'll go ahead and take a look at 4A Region 5 standings. You've got Creekwood on top there. They're really taking care of it this season without much of a struggle whatsoever.
Right, Creekwood and Springfield, those are the two teams you're going to look forward to win the region. And for Montgomery Central, although they don't have a shot to win it, just another team that they're kind of hanging around there. They've got a few more region games to come, so they've got a path to make it into the playoffs and a shot to make some noise in it.
For sure, and then you've got, but Montgomery Central is down there under the line right now.
Yep, and it'll be tough for them, but like I said, they've got two games that are winnable for them, and then Portland High School at 0-4. You'd hate to say the season's over, but it's getting close to being over for them.
We'll take a look at Class A in the West region, You've got Davidson Academy up there, and no struggle as well, just another powerhouse, if you will.
Yep, they're really they're a level above most of these teams in the region, although Jackson Christian's right there as well at 5-0. So those are the two teams that are going to end up winning this region alongside Trinity Christian, who Clarksville Academy's got coming up here in the next couple of weeks. A region that doesn't get a lot of recognition, but there's some real talent in there that are going to some Power 5 and FCS schools that are really fun to watch at the next level.
Not much change under the line there. These schools kind of battled out last week, but Clarksville Academy is pretty far down there.
Yep, they've not won the games that they needed to win to give themselves a shot, and it'll be tough for them. They've got a few more tough matchups coming up, so a tough one for them.
For our final portion here today, let's review what to keep an eye out for this Friday. So you've got Montgomery Central at West Creek, two teams kind of close somewhat to the same skill level.
Absolutely, and both these teams need to win. West Creek, although they don't have a path really to make it into the playoffs at 1-5 in the region, Montgomery Central is right there to make it in. So if Montgomery Central can win this game, I like their chances of making some other teams above them nervous to make it into the playoffs.
So there's going to be Northwest at Greenbrier, and you've actually got Kenwood at Rossview as well, and then you've got Clarksville Academy at Monterey, and then Clarksville High and Northeast have bye weeks this week. So
Absolutely, two teams that are on fall break right now, but the game you see on your screen there, Rossview High School, a game that doesn't really mean a whole lot for them in terms of the region, but if they can continue this path they're on right now, winning close games, and even if they can get some an extended win against Kenwood, I like their chances in this game. So a lot of good games in the region. That next week will be a little slower, but a really fun weekend ahead for high school football.
It's going to be a busy Friday for sure. Now all of those games will be this Friday. From Pat and I, we want to thank you for tuning in to Prep Sports Weekly. Go ahead and join us next week for all things high school football. We will see you next week.